And with us this morning we have George Cordova. I was going to call him Jorge.
Good morning, Vernon. How are you?
Good to have you. And I know you're a seasoned person now. You can almost take over this program, right?
No, not from you, Vernon.
Why not?
You're irreplaceable.
I hear you. And we also have Michael Marble.
Good morning, Vernon.
Good to have you. That's a very unusual name, Marble.
Marble, I think it's traditional. I like it.
You love it. Good to have you. Now, I hear there are quite a number of things that are happening, and you want to inform us about. Where do we start this morning? I understand you have some changes to a category of
our visas. Yes. Those people going on the farm work program, they get H-2A visas. There's a change that's come down where they're in the past they haven't had to come in for an interview or gone. They just could go straight through the Ministry of Labor and get their identification card and go. With now, we will be actually asking them to come in for an interview, to talk to us, get a visa, and go through that. They're still going to go through the Ministry of Labor as they always have before, but this would allow them just to get a visa in their passport as they go up.
Oh, so all those persons who have been approved now to go,
right,
they don't have to go to the U.S. Embassy on, is it Odo Road?
Right, and this will all be coordinated through the Ministry of Labor, as you know they've always done. It's just an extra step that needs to happen.
So before, how you used to deal with it? They go to the Ministry of Labor, they are processed. What would happen?
They would get an ID card that would allow them to travel up to the States, and they would be entered. They'd enter the States with that card, and that would mean they'd still get stamped on their passport, but they wouldn't have to have a visa in their passport.
Oh.
And so now, just like any other visa category, they'd have to have a visa placed in their passport that would identify them. Okay.
So will they still need that card?
No, well, I'm not sure about the card. I don't have the answer to that, but they still, the Ministry of Labor is very well aware. Our good friends over there are very much aware of the changes and should be able to guide them through the process. It's just, like I said, they'll have to come in for the interview.
Right.
One thing, Vernon, about this, which is, even though it sounds like an extra thing they have to do, one benefit they will get from this, a lot of times when we had people who participate in the farm work program coming in to get a tourist visa, a visitor visa, right? It was not easy for us to be able to determine how well they traveled on their farm work.
Because now, it's a card system.
Right. Now, by virtue of the fact that they will apply for a visa, we'll know a lot more about their travel history and know that they've traveled well and used the visa well.
Yes.
Which will then help us make a positive determination on whether when they apply for a visitor visa, for example. So there are some benefits to getting the visa. It's not just an additional requirement that we're asking them for.
But before, when they got that card, did you have to interview them in at all?
We did not. But let's say they came in for a visitor visa, for example, afterwards. Then we would have a hard time to know how well they traveled on the farm work program.
Right. And what else is happening there at the U.S. Embassy? I'm sure you have other things we've been hearing. I'm sure I heard about a competition.
Yes, there's...
That you... Yes, go ahead, George.
Well,
George, who's going to... let's listen, who's going to take it
up? We'll flip a coin.
You just did? All right.
So, Martin Luther King Jr., as we head into African American or Black History Month in February, we're having an essay competition open to here in Jamaica. Submission deadline is February 15, 2016. It's open to students who are 15 to 19 years old here in Jamaica. And what we are looking for is essay topics related to injustice. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere was a quote from Martin Luther King. So we'd like for Jamaicans to discuss in relation to Jamaica's Charter of Rights, which calls for the right to life, liberty, and security of the person. So entries should be in English, obviously, about 800 to 1,000 words. We have a lot more information that we can provide. So for the folks who are interested in participating in this contest, we have an email address which we can read out to you.
Actually, it's probably best to send them to the Facebook page and all that. It's easy to copy down. That way you don't have to write it down now. If you just check out the embassy, American Embassy Kingston website, you'll catch it.
But then you still have some young persons who don't have access probably to the internet. So do you have? Well, you'd have to. It's just they can only send it by email.
Right. They need internet to make the submission. So, you can send essays to Kingston Social Media.
Yes.
At state.com.
Let us have that. Let's have that
spelled out. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Kingston, KINGSTON SOCIALMEDIA at state.gov.
Right. Let's hear it one more time again.
Okay.
Let's go right into that mic. Speak right into that mic here.
Sure thing. Kingston Social Media.
That's Kingston.
Kingston, KINGSTON SOCIALMEDIA at state STATE.gov. G-O-V.
Right, so there you have it. So it's Kingston Social Media. And that's easy to remember. Listeners, you got that? Kingston Social Media at state.gov. And do you have a title as such for that essay, or just a general?
If you just put down for the Martin Luther King Jr. essay competition on the as a subject, they'll know it's for it. And the deadline is February 15th. So it's coming up in just a few weeks.
Right. So just let's go over now what that essay, what it should cover, the topic that it should cover. Any specific guidelines you have for those who want to write that essay? When you mentioned it in terms of words, it should be between 800 to 1,000 words.
Correct. And then, like I said, it's the essays are the individuals, are the applicants. How were they inspired by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s quote that once again, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
Injustice
anywhere
is
a threat to justice.
Is a threat
to justice everywhere.
Justice anywhere. I got it right? So injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. No, I got it, I tell you. All right, so there we have it. We have a call on the line. Yes, we do. Nadia, how are you doing?
I'm fine.
Good to have you. And where are you calling from?
Portmore.
I was hoping you were going to say like Manchester or Chilhowly. Anyhow, I love Portmore people still.
Okay. Good morning to your guest.
Good morning, Nadia. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good.
My question is, if a minor is traveling without his parents, would I have to write a letter in order for the person to show Custom Border Patrol?
Who's going to take that one up now?
Okay, so there's several issues related to that question. One is exiting the country, which is Jamaican law. The other one is airline policy, and the other one is entry into the United States. Okay, with regards to airline policy and Jamaican law, we can't really address that. We do see children entering the United States without their parents on an ongoing basis. So that is not a requirement to my knowledge. I don't know if you've seen that either, Mike.
To my knowledge, it's not a requirement. Having a letter explaining for the minor that would, that obviously would always help explain, just in case, because when they go through passport control, they're going to talk to an officer at that point, and having that letter to help explain the situation should be, is never a bad idea.
Okay, because I read it somewhere online as it relates to human trafficking and all of that. You should have the letter signed by both parents if a minor is traveling with another person other than the parent. So that's why I asked if that's the case. Should I go ahead and do that?
Like I said, it's not a bad idea. I'm not sure of the specific legal requirements upon entering the U.S. I'm unfamiliar with that, but if you can do it, obviously it's a good idea.
Okay.
And then there might be the question if you have a letter as to the authenticity of that letter. So that's another, could be another challenge. Well, we'll probably have to check into that further. So you keep listening to this program. We'll give you more information about that, you see, because that's a very interesting question. All right. Anything else?
No, not at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadia.
All right, you have a wonderful day. Good, gentlemen. Now, you have seen probably hundreds of persons, and oftentimes they make mistakes. I know one of the reasons persons make mistakes is because they are nervous. I hope they're not too nervous these days. I've heard you guys come on radio. They've listened to what you have said. So hopefully persons are a little bit more aware of what is required. But are you still finding persons who are coming to the embassy and they're doing things which they ought not to do because they're not aware of what they are doing, and probably you need to guide them at this point?
Always. There's, you can always, there's always new people applying for it, and there's always, it's good to restate a lot of these items. I mean, what we always say is just be yourself and be honest, and be forthcoming when someone asks a question of you. So, you're reviewed based upon the facts of your life and what's going on in your situation. And the more you have a story to tell and are a clear, honest story, the easier it is.
And not one of these creative stories either. must be the truth, right?
Yeah, sometimes people feel that they have to, go overboard in explaining or really. Yes. And as Mike said, the more honest you are, the more truthful you are, the higher your chances are.
You have also the challenge where persons are not too au fait with the forms or even applying online. So what they do, they go to someone else and ask them to assist them. Now, I understand that sometimes...
Well, if you do that, and it's okay. I mean, it can be complicated. We do encourage people to try to fill out their own forms, but we understand it's a long form, etc. However, if you do ask for assistance in that regard, what we recommend is that you definitely review what has been put on in the form, because a mistake can be made, whether honestly or not, in inputting your information, and you want to make sure you validate that what is on that form accurately reflects who you are and your current situation.
And if there are any mistakes, of course, and you've already submitted the form or what have you, make us aware. Just say, I clicked the wrong box, or I wrote something incorrect here, or my email address is different, or whatever it would be. It's being honest and being, forthright and letting us know up front is always a good thing.
After they have completed that form online, are they able to print out that form? Because that is one way they could probably check and to verify to see what is there.
Yes, they do print out the form after after completing it, and it's encouraged to bring that in. And of course, we also have a copy of that when you submit it, so we see that as well.
And probably what our listeners should do, listeners, that when you get that form, if somebody assists you in completing that form, then you should look at that form. But let me ask another question. Can you print that form before you have completed it and submitted it to the system?
Can you print it out?
Yes, before. Or you're able to print it after?
I don't think you can. I mean, to the extent you can print a web page, I guess you can.
Yes.
I don't know if it's that practical to do so, but it's technically possible. But you can review it online, certainly, and make corrections before it's submitted. And that is what we recommend.
So you might go to a travel agency and they complete that form for you. And many persons are, quite scared of these computers. You know what I mean? Then I'm thinking that they can print it for them and say, you have a look through that form. So I'd love to know, whether or not they can print it before it's finally submitted. Because my understanding, the moment you submit that form, you cannot make any changes again. Am I correct?
Well, I don't believe you can edit. Once you've submitted, you submit it. But if you tell us when you arrive at your interview, of course, we'll take that into account and know that the information is updated at that point.
But it's because what happens is, is that they get that, they fill out, the travel agency or whoever fills out that form, and it is when they reach to your office, they realize,
while they're waiting for their interview, they're looking through their paperwork and they see a mistake.
Or they probably don't, because many of us, we don't spend the time to check and double check. So when you arrive, you go to that consular officer, and that consular officer asks you a question which is answered in a different way on the document. Then that's where probably you find out. and then it could come across as if they are trying to mislead you. And that's why I'm saying it's probably best for that form to be printed so they can go through it. And I'm making a suggestion generally to the travel agencies and those persons.
I know I've had cases where applicants have come to me and said, look, there's something on that form that's actually not correct. The last 4 digits of my phone number are this. It's so I do know that there are points in time where they are able to review it. So whether it's online or printed, it's just very, very important. If you do not fill out your form, make sure you know what's on that form, and if there's anything on there that is not accurate, let us know.
Or if something changes from the time you filled it out and you go in for an interview, it could be a couple of weeks or a month or so when you come in, and you might have a new phone or something, and it's understandable. We understand that life happens and we're human and mistakes are made, but in discussing it during your interview, it's always be honest, be forthright with what's going on.
Right. Any other challenges you've come across? Well, I know about the time thing. Many of us tend to arrive at the embassy very early, and I'm sure are you still having that challenge?
I think we are. Yeah. There's no doubt. And I know it's very difficult also for people traveling from Montego Bay, from Negril, from other parts of the island. It's not so easy to perfectly time your arrival in Kingston and to the embassy. But there is no benefit to arriving 2 hours prior to your appointment time. Okay, we want you there 10 to 15 minutes before your appointment, and everything is timed in a way so that you are to be let into the embassy as efficiently as possible. So the closer you can get to getting to the embassy at your appointment time, the more comfortable and speedy your process will be.
Or you could just end up standing up outside in the sun, and that is not comfortable.
Not very much fun, no.
Yes, but with any other pointers you want to give to my listeners?
One other thing I would mention, and I'm working a lot more on the immigrant visa section now. We definitely rely on couriers and on the non-immigrant visa side as well to send documents back and forth. So just be prepared for that, having to provide an address where you want your documents delivered. And it could be to your location, to your home. It could be to a place of work. It could be to a DHL office. So just be ready for that aspect of it, that you're not going to come back to the embassy to pick up your documents, but you're going to have them delivered back to you, and you're going to need to let us know where you want those delivered back to you.
And that is very important, because if you live in a big home where there are probably quite a number of tenants there, that document might arrive at that house and somebody picks it up and somehow you don't get it. So probably it's best for them to go through one of these courier companies, so they go there and collect the document themselves.
Yeah, or if they work in school, or it can be somewhere where they feel comfortable picking it up, basically, and they know it won't be misplaced.
Right. Now, for those who are migrating, any special information you want to give to those who are migrating, what they should do, should not do? Well, for one, let's review those who are eligible in terms of someone sponsoring them to go to the United States.
Well, let me just talk about one thing that is relatively new on the immigrant visa side. We have many cases where an adult will be immigrating and their child will be following them later. Okay.
Yes.
Maybe because of the school year or for whatever reason, the child will not be accompanying them when they travel to the United States for the first time.
Yes.
In those cases, typically, the child does not come to the interview. The parent comes by themselves, and then the child will come later, a few months later, when they're ready to travel. The thing that is new now is that we will need that child's birth certificate presented at the time that the parent is interviewed. Okay, this is a new policy. That will make the process when the child comes in a lot smoother and faster. Okay, so just be aware, if you're coming in, even though your child is not coming with you to the interview, they will be following you to join later. We do need to see their birth certificate and documents at that time.
At that time.
Yes.
We have a call on the line. OP, good morning, OP. I hope I have pronounced your name correctly.
Yeah, good morning to you. I've been listening to your program.
Have I pronounced the name correctly, OP?
OP, that's just initial, really. You know who's talking. Anyway, Let me see if I can...
Oh, yes, I think I recognize
that. Let me see if I can shed some light on the procedure as it relates to a minor traveling. What you would do, you would check in the minor with the airline. They as a non-accompanying minor.
Yes, right.
Then the airline would be responsible up to the destination of the child, because the person receiving the child has to be identified.
Right.
There has to be an established identification of the recipient of the minor traveling. I don't know if I have made it clear.
Yeah, man, and you are right. I won't tell you. You know what I'm supposed to know.
But I just like to shed some.
And of course, whoever is in the States will have to give.
If the minor is of age,
yes,
they would know the individual who is going to be collecting them.
Right, and of course, they would have an escort for that child.
Yes.
Right. And just so my listeners can know, this gentleman is the first gentleman who organized, I think, a trip for me to perform in the United States. Am I correct, sir? My first time performing in the United States. See, I recognize you. All the best. You have a
gentlemen.
You have a wonderful day.
Bless your heart.
Thank you.
Okay, all the best. They have another caller. Andrew, how are you, sir? Good to have you.
Hi. Good morning, sorry.
You see, that short time of day it is in the mind, after 1 o'clock a strike,
Want the day to end quickly.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Kingston.
Good to have you. Go ahead.
Good. I have a question for the counselors. My mom has applied for us through sponsorship. I heard from the NBC back in December that all documents are now with the local consulate here in Jamaica. Is there a time in terms of how long for them to get back to you? What's the time frame?
So, Andrew, thanks for your question. So you've been told that the case has been transferred to Kingston already?
Yes.
Yeah, then it should be within the next couple of months that you will receive a request for an appointment. So you're very close. You're right at the end of the process. Then you'll come in for an interview. Assuming the interview goes well and your visa is approved, within 2 weeks or less, you'll receive your visa, your immigrant visa at that time. So you're right at the tail end of the process.
I'm on the tail end. Okay.
Yeah.
And another question too, in terms of my kids. They may not travel with me at the time when I go. You were saying before that they don't have to come with me to the initial interview?
If they're following to join, what's called following to join, in other words, they're part of the petition, but they're not going to be traveling with you. They don't need to go to the interview with you at that time. You will need to bring in their birth certificates with you for your interview. And the reason for that is to facilitate them when they do come in. They don't necessarily, if they're not going to travel with you, they don't necessarily have to be coming to the interview with you. They will eventually, obviously, have to come in when they are going to travel. So that they will have to come in, but once they are ready to travel, basically.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Thanks
for your question, Andrew.
Thank you very much, and you have a wonderful day. Thanks for calling.
You too.
All right, let's go to another caller. Maurice, how are you doing? Maurice? I wonder what happened to Maurice. I think let's try if we can get Maurice again. Maurice, how are you? Are you there still? Not hearing him. I want to feed credit. We have Nadia. Is that Nadia? How are you doing?
Hello?
Okay, you called before. This is a different Nadia.
I am the same person.
Okay.
Yes, it seems to be some misunderstanding.
Yes.
The minor, I'm talking about my son. He's 15 years old, but he will be traveling with his aunt. So that's why I asked the question as it relates to the letter, because the person that called a while ago and that was speaking about the minor traveling by himself, my son is too old now for that service because he's 15 years old. So that's
You're
why
sure
I was
about that?
asking. Yes, because that's what the airline said. I think it's JetBlue. So he would be traveling with the person. The person would be coming to Jamaica in order to carry him up. So I was wondering if I should write a letter.
No, but they answered you already, you know.
I mean, let's just summarize.
Yes.
So you've got airline requirements, which, you know, JetBlue could be 15. I know some airlines are actually 16 as far as unaccompanied minors. That's one set of requirements. You've got Jamaican exit requirements, and then you've got Department of Homeland Security, Customs, and Border Patrol requirements, which you know the best place for that would be to visit their website. We are the ones here issuing the visas, and we can help you with that. But as far as entry requirements into the United States for a minor, visiting their website would probably be the best place to do it. So we do know that aunts and uncles and cousins travel with minors all the time. So it's a very common practice. Unfortunately, I don't have. We'd have to get back to you on the exact requirements from DHS, which is a separate part of the government from where we are.
Yeah, you want to go to the Customs and Border Patrol off of Department of Homeland Security to find that information. Because, once again, we're basically two sides of a process. When you come in for an interview, you're in to get a visa. We're basically giving you the right to go to America to enter. And then they make the determination also when you pass through passport control. They actually interview you briefly again and look at your information and do another examination. So we're two different sides of a process there. And they have their own requirements to come in, and we have our requirements whether or not we're going to issue a visa. So does that make sense to you? So we're not the same agency.
Okay. Yeah, but I understand, but I thought you guys didn't understand because of what the person said a while ago. I thought I thought the whole thing got misunderstood about him traveling by himself. I thought it was that case.
Okay. If you did want to look up for your own information online, if you looked up in U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, CPB, if you look them up, they will probably have some information on their website on minors traveling unaccompanied. Okay?
What you say about the website? Can you give me that again?
It's
CPB, is it?
CBP.
Customs and Border Patrol is what it stands for. The U.S. Customs and Border Patrol. And they should have some information on their website about traveling with unaccompanied minors.
Okay.
Okay.
All right then. Thank you.
Good luck.
All right. You have a wonderful day. All right. Let's go to another caller. Houghton. Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, Mr. Dario. Good morning, sir. First time on your program.
No, it's after beat you first.
And I listen to you every day, every day.
You must talk to me, but I love when you guys call, you know.
Yes, sir. I'm having a little problem here.
Yes.
A situation where my mother and my father are trying to renew their visa. And my wife also is applying for the second time. But my daughter did it online, and she actually put the name of the receiver, which is my sister. The first name, she got it wrong, and it was just this morning while we were about to pay the money at the bank. I realized she used the wrong first name. How could we correct that?
I'm not sure I understood the question. She wrote down the wrong name on the application, or?
Yes, the last name is okay, but the first name, she know her by her name Paulette, and her correct name is Andrea Kane, and she filling the form with Paulette Kane. So I'm just wondering could that be corrected?
The information on her passport, is that correct? When you actually look at her passport, is her passport number correct? Is the name there? Like, I know that she calls her by a different name and she filled that on the paperwork, but like there should be like a passport number that would link the information. Is all of that information correct?
Yeah, all the other information is correct except for the she put the first name, which I was wondering if that would not correspond with the name if in case they would ask the question at the embassy.
When she comes in, I don't believe there's a way for you to correct it right now. What you do, this is an example of what we were talking about earlier, of saying something is incorrect on the information that's in front of the officer or what's in the printed application.
Yeah.
And if honestly, when you explain that in that way, say that my daughter was helping me fill out the paperwork and she typed in the wrong name and it was a mistake, and here's the passport, here's everything else that makes sense. On it, that I would not worry about that being a too big of an issue, as long as you explain that from when you start the interview. Explain that immediately. Okay.
Okay, but what happens? The daughter that is supposed to receive them, if they, when they got to, that's the name that she got wrong on the form. So we wouldn't have her passport or. Well,
like I said, when the actual applicant goes in, for the appointment, if they explain, if that's your wife, I believe you said it was, if your wife.
No.
Is your wife?
Yeah, my wife will be applying. Also, my mother and my father is renewing their visa.
No, they're trying to find out for me the person in the States. I'm trying to understand this now. The person in the States, you have written on the wrong name for that person.
Right, the wrong first name.
Right.
Oh, then
the person that they're visiting, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, that's not as big of an issue. Once you can explain that, I would not worry about that as being a huge problem. Once again, that just goes to, what's having a child help, or my daughter was helping me fill it out and the wrong name was typed in. That's not. I would not consider that to be a.
Yeah, I recently had heard, and just to give you an example, similar case where somebody came in and said, "Look, the address of where I'm visiting has changed." Mm-hmm. That was not an issue to correct that at that time. So. A bigger issue would have been if you had put in the wrong applicant's name to correct that. Would have been a bigger issue. But as far as who you're visiting in the United States, it's, as long as you tell us when you arrive, this has to be corrected, it's not going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sir.
All right, sir.
I hope. Thank you very much, sir.
Good luck to you.
And you continue to listen.
Good luck, Horton.
Yes, sir.
And also call.
Yes, I will. From now on.
Hey, take care, my brother.
All right.
All right. We can take another call before we go for the break. Let's now hear from Mavis. Good morning, Mavis. How are you and where are you calling from?
Good morning. I'm calling from St. Elizabeth.
Wow, lovely. You better send me Mela and come,
I'm not on that side.
Okay. You go ahead.
Yes, I was living in this space. And my daughter filed for me 2002, 2003. But unfortunately, my spouse died and I had to come out back to Jamaica.
Yeah, sorry to hear
that. Because of the issues I had to write to the embassy and explain to them that I have to put my filing on hold. Now I decided to reactivate it. I want to know what the procedure. All
right. Send us an email, and I'm going to read out an email address. I don't
have a computer. Can I write?
Really, we take most of our correspondence through email. So maybe if you have a neighbor
I would have to go to the library and do it then.
Yeah, if you have a neighbor or an internet cafe or a library. I'm going to read you the email address in a moment. And do you still have the case number of when your petition was filed?
No, I don't even have anything.
Okay.
Misled.
All right. So then, what I'll ask you to include is your name and your daughter's the petitioner or your daughter's name. You said your daughter filed for you, correct?
Yeah, my daughter.
Okay. So you're going to write an email stating your name, your daughter's name, and your situation. And you're going to address it to the following email address. It's Kingston IV.
Kingston.
IV. So it's Kingston like the capital, and then the letters I like India, V like Victor.
Yeah, Kingston IV. Mm-hmm.
Right, at state.gov. State.gov, V like Victor.
At state, S-T-A-T-E?
STATE.gov. And also include your date of birth, if you could.
Yeah. Could I repeat again?
Sure. It's Kingston IV at STATE.gov. .gov like Victor.
G-O...
V as in Victor, G-O-V.
Oh, G-O-V, okay.
Right, G as in golf.
Mm-hmm.
Right, O as in Oscar.
Yes, I know, I get it.
Right.
G-O-V, at G-O-V.com.
No, just G-O-V. Just G-O-V.
Why are you adding .com to that?
G-O-V.
Yeah, Kingston IV at
okay.
G-O-V.
And no .com or .came or .was. Don't put anything else to it at all.
All right. K-N-I-V.
No, it's it's K-I-N-G.
Yeah, man. Kingston IV.
Right.
State G-O-V. Kingston.
I tell you, I'll leave you with some important things. You have to get it right. It's Kingston at State. You know the at sign?
Yeah, man.
Right.
Kingston IV.
Right, correct.
State G-O-V. Kingston.
Right.
Let me give it again. You have to listen. Right? Just listen carefully.
Okay.
The word Kingston.
Yeah.
Then IV, no space.
I have that.
Then you have the at sign.
Oh, I have to have the... Oh, okay.
The at sign, just like you mean five apples at $10 per hour. Right.
At State.
Good. And State like in the US, S-T-A-T-E.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Then you put a full stop. Just a dot. Just a simple full stop.
Yeah, I have that. Full
then
stop.
G-O-V.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Gotta leave it nicely so you have a wonderful day.
Okay, thanks much.
You're listening to At Your Service here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media. We have a few minutes left and we can still take some more of your calls. So, we can't... Oh, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble, gentlemen. Thank you very much. I got myself in trouble. I didn't realize the time will slip by so quickly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vernon.
George and Michael. George and Michael. George and Michael. George and Michael. George and